Alright, so Razor versus Chongyun round 2 with teams. So let me give you the basic information for both of these units. So both of them are level 75. They are going to be using the same weapons. The artifacts though, they are going to be different, and the reason why I changed this was because of the feedback that I was provided with from my previous video for Chongyun versus Razor. I definitely do agree with those feedbacks that pointed out that Chongyun definitely did have a disadvantage there. He is not supposed to be built that way, and he is not supposed to be used that way, and I don't know why I didn't consider teams into that previous video, especially when teams are kind of like the main thing about the game anyways. So yeah, I just want to apologize and thank everyone for that feedback, and just let me know in the comment section. Don't hesitate to let me know on what I should improve on for these comparison videos, because I am willing to do these, and I am willing to improve on to these videos to make it, you know, more better. So just let me know in the comment section if you have anything to say, and I'll try to take that into consideration to improve my future videos. But yeah, other than that, let me talk about the artifacts. So the artifacts for Razor is going to be a 4-set gladiator set. So he's going to take advantage of that 4-set piece set, and the artifacts are definitely more focused on the attack percentage and the physical damage bonus percentage from the goblet, which is, you know, the Maiden's Love artifact. So there you go for Razor's artifact. I'll give you the basic stats for Razor here. But moving on to Chongyun. So Chongyun is going to be more focused on the elemental mastery and cryo damage percentage bonus and the attack stat bonus. So as you guys can see here, so he has a 2-set piece bonus from the instructor set, and he has a 2-set piece bonus from the gladiator set. So he is going to take advantage of the elemental mastery and the attack percentage, and I decided to add into the cryo damage percentage bonus because that is probably more better for him than attack percentage. So there you go for their artifacts. Moving on to the talents, they're both the same level. I didn't touch this at all from my previous video. I decided to keep the way it is, mainly because I have no resources, and also it's just kind of fair this way anyways. So there you go. Okay, so let's actually start with the teams now. So this is Razor's team. So his team is consisted of Beidou, Barbara, and Kaeya. So the reason why I'm bringing Beidou is for the elemental resonance and also to cover up Razor's defensive capabilities. And Barbara is there to heal him and sometimes provide that electrocharge effect, I guess. And Kaeya is there to react with Razor for super conduct, which is actually pretty decent for Razor. So that's pretty much it for why I'm bringing these units. Honestly, Razor is a selfish unit, so I don't really have to focus on elemental reactions anyways, and his elemental mastery is pretty low anyways, so really this team is more focused on Razor's you know, weaknesses and strengthen his capabilities, I guess. So there you go. If you guys want the artifacts for these units, it's honestly nothing too special. This is Beidou's artifacts. As you guys can see, I have not invested anything into her. And Barbara, I invested some into her flower, but that's pretty much it. And Kaeya, honestly, really nothing much than you know, just energy recharge rate, and that's pretty much it, I guess. But yeah, that was Razor's team. So moving on to Chongyun's team. So Chongyun's team is going to be consisted of Kaeya, Barbara, and Xiangling. So I'm using 2 of the same units for both teams, and the reason for that is because 2 of these units have 2 constellations unlocked, and they do benefit both teams as well. Beidou does not have any of the constellations unlocked, so that's why I put Beidou there, and also Xiangling doesn't have any of her constellations unlocked as well. So the team balance is kind of fair in terms of constellations, I guess. So I did try to focus on that as well. So Chongyun, let's talk about his team. So Barbara is there for healing and freeze effects. Kaeya is there for the elemental resonance and also to provide the cryo damage, I guess, when Chongyun's E is in cooldown. And Xiangling is there for the melt effect, which is going to increase Chongyun's damage by quite a bit. So there you go for the teams. If you guys want the artifacts for Xiangling, then here you go. Again, it is nothing special. So that's what I ended up with. So yeah, that's pretty much the teams here. And yeah, let's just test them out in the overworld mobs, and we're gonna move on to the domains that they have advantage against, and after that we're gonna go to the abyss and try to pick a floor that they actually have advantage against, I guess. I mean, not sorry, I didn't mean advantage, but that's more fair for both of them, because on floor 3 apparently there were cryo slimes and Chongyun was kind of lacking against them, so I guess it was unfair for him. But yeah, I guess I'll try to pick a floor that's more fair for both of these units. So I haven't figured it out yet, but I'll probably have it figured out by the time I upload this, so you guys can probably see it on the screen right now on which floor I decided to use these teams against. So yeah. Also, I decided to speed up the battle process for you guys because it is going to be more convenient for you to watch. And also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you guys did enjoy the video. And I'll try to make more comparison videos like this. And yeah, other than that, let's go ahead with the video. Alright, so before you criticize what just happened there, let me explain. I do think Razor did have a better advantage there for that specific domain. So this is the domain that Razor went through, and Electro units do have an advantage here. And if we do look at here, this is the domain that Chongyun went through. Cryo units are supposed to have advantages there. So the same, I went through the same difficulty for the two domains here. And these are the buffs that they were provided. Chongyun's buff is definitely, well, in my personal opinion, it is definitely more useless compared to what Razor received. So Razor's electro damage is increased by that, and his AoE is increased by 100% or something. So it is quite of a, big buff there. So I do think Razor did had a advantage there. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to measure the time that it took both of these units to go against the Abyss mages. So I'm not gonna measure the time when they have their shields up. I'm gonna measure the time when they're more vulnerable. Oh wow. Gosh darn it, man. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just suck. Maybe I just actually suck, or maybe it's because I haven't really invested into Zhongling and any other unit. That would actually make more sense. But honestly, what's more important is Chongyun's elemental reaction, and that is really determined by Chongyun's elemental mastery in the first place. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just building him wrong. Maybe I'm not supposed to build him like this. I heard some people use him with crit rate as well. Maybe I should probably, I don't know. Maybe I should work on that. But if that's the case, then I would have to work on crit damage as well. And it's really hard to make a build that's invested in elemental mastery, cryo damage percentage, crit rate, and crit damage at the same time. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I'm not saying, well, Chongyun's, he's doing great, but I don't know how you can reach Razor's damage output with Chongyun, even with teams. Maybe he might be better if you use Zhang Kui. That's what I heard, but I don't have Zhang Kui, and not everyone has those units. So that's kind of one of the main reasons why I decided to use units that are more viable. I guess Beidou is kind of an exception, but then again, I don't really use Beidou that much. She's really just there for the elemental resonance. I could technically put Fischl there, but I'm sure that's gonna be really unfair for some people. So yeah, I don't know. We'll try out the Abyss now because the buffs are probably something that we can actually control. So we'll actually go ahead and do that and see what happens. I'm sure that's going to be much better. Okay, so like I said, I am going to go with floor 3, and the main reason for that is because, honestly, this is the only one where I can actually compare these two units more easily. And I know the floor 3 chamber 1 has cryo slimes, which is kind of like the big disadvantages for, Chongyun. So what I'm going to do is actually completely ignore chamber 1 and just record chamber 2 and chamber 3, so it's much more fair. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so let's actually try to analyze each of the stages, and I'll try to keep this as short as possible and try to explain as much as I can. So the first stage, Chongyun's team was slower, and the main reason for that was because of the switch time, I think. Because I try to constantly provide that elemental reaction, and since that is the only way for Chongyun to actually do damage in this case, I try to proc the elemental reactions as much as I can, which is why I try to constantly switch between characters. And I think the time between that was actually a pretty big factor to why Chongyun's team was actually slower. And also, I do admit I did make some mistakes there with the attack patterns. Sorry, not the attack patterns, the switch patterns. And also, while I was focusing on the switch patterns, I also forgot to dodge sometimes. So it is kind of my fault as well. But I just want to let you know, I actually tried this stage like 13 times in a row, and this is the best time I could get. And even if I did make no mistakes here, I think the switch time between the characters would still kind of hold them back against Razor's time. So let's talk about Razor. So Razor, the reason why he was faster was because of the constant damage output. Basically, he's already doing a lot of damage alone by just auto attacking, and even if he gets the elemental procs, so like super conduct, and his damage does go up by quite a lot. But even without it, I think his constant damage output from his normal attacks is one of the main reasons why Razor actually ended up completing the stage quicker than Chongyun's team. So that's the first stage. So let's talk about the second stage now. So the second stage, as you guys can tell, Chongyun actually completed that stage quicker than Razor's team. So to explain why is because Chongyun's team was actually able to provide that constant elemental reaction from Zhongling's Q, Kaeya's Q, and Barbara's E with that circular thing that's around them. And as soon as I switch into Chongyun and slam the E down and just auto attack, I just get that constant elemental reaction proc while doing constant damage to the point where I do a similar amount of damage as Razor's auto attacks, or in this case even more, which is why Chongyun's team actually, completed that faster. Some may argue that Razor's team, Kaeya was unable to use his Q, but the super conduct was still activated. So I'm pretty sure Razor's damage was still going up due to that, so I don't think that's like a major factor. But then again, that is Razor's weakness, so that's something that Razor has to try to cope himself, and I think that's just something that we have to consider when we're using Razor. So that's just my analysis on the Abyss stages. So let's actually talk about the pros and cons for each of these units, or at least just Chongyun and Razor. Alright, so we are at the very end of the video now, so we're actually going to get into conclusion. So let's talk about the pros and cons for Chongyun and Razor. So Chongyun's pros is pretty simple. His kit really is mostly built for the elemental reaction. His E is there to initiate the reaction, and his Q is there to initiate the reaction as well. Well, not initiate. Initiate is the wrong word. It's to proc the reaction, I guess. That's the right word. So his kit is mostly there to proc elemental reactions. So he's going to take more advantage actually focusing on elemental mastery, because if you guys don't know, elemental mastery raises damage for these reactions here. So there you go. But back to his talent. So his kit is mainly focused on that, but I guess the cons for Chongyun is that you actually need to constantly switch between characters and provide those constant elemental reactions in order to do pretty good amount of damage. And what I would probably recommend if you're trying to proc elements with Chongyun is probably use characters that passively provide those elemental reactions. So like Xiangling's Q, her E, Kaya's Q, Barbara's E, those work very, very well with Chongyun's whole kit. And honestly, it just works with his attack style as well, as he just gets close to the enemy and just auto hack and slash. I heard Zhang Kui works very well with Chongyun. I actually have no clue what Zhang Kui does, but I heard they are an amazing pair, so you guys can check that out if you want. But the team that I tried to make was more focused on the free to play characters. I guess Beidou is an exception, like I said, but honestly she is just replaceable with like Lisa or whatever. But in Chongyun's team, you're never gonna use Electro units other than Fischl. But honestly, since the damage potential is coming from Fischl in that case, and since we're trying to talk about the main DPS from Chongyun, I probably wouldn't recommend using Superconduct with Chongyun like at all, because his E ability just kind of makes that useless. So there you go for Chongyun. So let's actually move on to Razor's kit. So Razor's kit is really just focused on damage, just raw physical damage, and he is very good at that alone, and that's kind of his weaknesses as well. So this character really performs well alone. He is a really more focused on that solo attack damage. And if you are trying to build a team, it's probably going to be something similar to Chongyun's team as well. Something that provides those elemental procs passively. So like Xiangling's Q, Kaya's Q, Barbara's E, Beidou's Q. Really, that's why I put Beidou in his team as well. It's mostly for the elemental resonance, but this is passively. It's providing that passive effect. And as soon as you proc all those, skills and elemental bursts, you just switch into Razor and activate his Q and just go hack and slash, because those element procs and elemental skills are going to be procking passively as he's just attacking. So there you go for Razor's pros, I guess. But yeah, cons, it is a little bit difficult to use teams with Razor sometimes, because since you never have the knowledge on whether the characters that you're going to switch into have the gauge close enough to full, you never know when to actually switch. And since there is a time between switching, and since there is a system in the game where it kind of prevents you from spam switching, it is a little bit difficult to use him right with other characters. However, he does perform pretty well on his own as well. So that's the pros and cons for Razor, and I do think I pointed most of the things. His kit is really, really well balanced for himself. He does raise his energy recharge bonus. His passive raises his energy recharge, and it's just very good. And it's really mostly to get him to this point. But if you switch with other characters, that's just effortless. Well, not effort. I guess it is effortless, because it is making that Q useless, because you need to wait for his cooldown and you need to recharge again, which is going to be a little bit more difficult now, because the energy cost for his elemental burst is 80, while Chongyun's is like 40. So there you go for pros and cons for Razor. Hopefully this video did help. If you want the answer to whether which unit is better, I think they have strength in different places. So Chongyun is mostly for utility with elemental reactions, and Razor's just kind of easier to use, I guess. Just all you need to do is just put in attack artifacts onto Razor and just go hack and slash. Alright, so if you guys have any other suggestions that I could improve upon with these kind of videos, please let me know in the comment section below, because this video itself was actually improved upon thanks to the feedback that I got from my last video. And also, if you guys have any other suggestions on characters I should compare, then let me know in the comment section as well, because I'll probably use them. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, bye bye.